there is this element of trust which is very important. This element of trust has been non-existent in the past several years. So now that we might have this element of trust in place, there is this hope that the negotiations will get anywhere at the end of the day. Hamid Reza Amari, Iranian journalist and political activist, live from Tehran. Thank you very much for your time this evening. Much appreciated. Thank you. Well, still ahead for you this hour on RT. Who owns who? World leaders can expect a frosty welcome as anti-capitalist protesters in the UK come together ahead of the G8 meeting to claim banks and corporations are responsible for the country's debt and should be paying up. Plus, we report on how the man who blew the whistle on American government espionage against its own citizens is getting a lot of public support. Syria's government has condemned claims by Washington that it used chemical weapons as a caravan of lies based on fabricated information. Damascus also accused the White House of double standards in dealing with terrorism after it announced it would send weapons to rebels. The US could impose a no-fly zone over parts of Syria, with Egypt's President Mohamed Morsi also backing that option. RT's Gurneet Ishkan has the details.
The White House says its decision to arm Syrian rebels is based on intelligence that the Assad government has used chemical weapons. Damascus denies the allegation. Washington cites its own intelligence community as well as French and British intelligence. And U.S. officials who declined to be identified told the media here that according to a CIA report, the U.S. has acquired blood, urine, and hair samples from 2 Syrian rebels, 1 dead and 1 wounded. And according to this CIA report, those 2 rebels were exposed to nerve agents there. And Brian Becker is here with me today to talk about, thank you, what the administration tries to present as definitive evidence that the Assad government has used chemical weapons. We don't know much about the evidence that they have, but this report about 2 rebels, do you think that could be enough for the CIA to come up with definitive conclusions?
Well, no, the evidence is dubious. It's very scant, in fact, but it's really not about the evidence. It's not even about weapons of mass destruction. It's not about sarin nerve gas. There's been an acknowledgement in Washington that if you want to take this country to war, either by bombing another country or intervening or occupying, raise the specter of weapons of mass destruction. And that's the ticket in order to get massive media coverage justifying an escalation. And that's what's going on. There's been a decision taken by the White House to escalate. This is just a red herring, not a red line.
The phrase that we often hear in Washington these days is we need to tip the balance in the other direction, meaning in the direction of the rebels. But behind that technical sounding phrase, tipping the balance, is a lot of killing that would have to be done to achieve that goal, right? To what length do you think the U.S. is ready to go to achieve a desired outcome in Syria?
Tipping the balance is just a euphemism and, in fact, bizarre and ridiculous. The fact of the matter is this civil war, which has taken 93,000 lives, according to the United Nations, was fueled by outside forces, Qatar, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, who are they? They're the proxies or allies of the United States and Britain and France, NATO powers. They've been funneling arms into Syria, creating the conditions for civil war, in fact, promoting civil war. I would say they have a lot of blood on their hands.
Senator McCain is a very active supporter of an aggressive U.S. intervention in Syria. And he's everywhere now on all news channels applauding the administration's decision to arm the rebels. In one of the interviews, he suggested that he'd tolerate extremists taking over Syria because they would not be allied with Iran. And it's not just him who constantly mentions Iran in the context of these discussions. How much of this is about Iran, in your opinion?
Well, John McCain's comments are very interesting, but not unusual.